Chapter 10. Regal's Rescue. A noise from just beyond the next hill startled the two. The boy quickly slipped the book back into his belt and jumped to his feet. He was feeling confident now about his progress, and he smiled to think how he had escaped all the obstacles and gotten the book. They heard nothing else for the moment, and the boy relaxed a little and thought even more about his recent conquest. He pictured the swarming horde he had left in the crevice, and he said, "Ha! We sure got out of that mess, didn't we, Fox?" "I wouldn't be quite so cocky, boy," warned the fox. "You know, we are in the land of confusion." The boy looked around, listening intently for any other sounds. The pair began walking again. The hills were high enough that as they approached one, they couldn't see over it to the next. As they ascended one hill, the boy stopped and a shock went through his body. To his left, he saw that the creatures had either beaten them to the spot or there were more of them. He could see the tops of the lie people's heads. To his right, he saw the anger creatures. Both sets of creatures were moving parallel alongside the boy and the fox. "Oh no," thought the boy. "Come on, Fox," he said out loud, and they started to run in an attempt to outrun the lie and anger creatures. He ran down the hill from where he was standing and overheard cheers on the other side of the hill. "We've got him! We've got him now! He's ours!" A battle charge sounded, and from over every side of the bowl swarmed the same creatures the boy had thought he had escaped from earlier. They completely encircled him, leaving absolutely no way out, no retreat, nothing. A voice from the sky trumpeted, "You are in the land of confusion." The creatures came pouring down the hill, and the boy frantically held the key and bracelet in one outstretched arm and the diamond rock and the book in the other. The creatures in front of him stopped, but the ones behind him slowly moved forward. If he spun to face one group, that group would stop, but when he turned his back on the others, they all pressed in. Just as he turned to fend off another group, a tentacled arm of a lie reached out and wrapped around the boy's ankle. But in the same instant, something grabbed the boy by his shirt collar and jerked him straight up into the air. The lie held on tightly to his leg, but whatever had him from above was strong too. The boy's body stretched between them. Finally, the lie's arm snapped like a rubber band, and the boy was lifted high into the air. The boy kicked a couple of times to shake loose the arm that was still wrapped around his leg. Everything had happened so fast, he hadn't realized the fox had jumped into his arms, and he was still holding his treasures. He breathed a wow as he swung through the air. Then he looked around and tried to see what was holding him. Whatever it was carrying him up into the sky, and he could now see the creatures getting further and further and smaller. On either side of him he could hear a rhythmic beating, and he could see the white tips of what appeared to be wings, large wings. This was an eagle hundreds of times bigger than any he had seen before. The boy felt relieved. They flew high through the air in the claws of the eagle, passing through clouds and watching the land go by underneath them. They passed over barren wastelands, inland seas, and snow-capped mountains. The eagle dived and soared and took graceful sweeping turns through the sky. After several minutes, the bird started his descent, heading straight toward a forest. The boy's eyes widened as the ground rushed up to them. They were moving like a bullet. The boy closed his eyes and opened them again, only when he felt the bird slow down and make a wide, sweeping turn. In front of the dangling boy lay Bartram's lodge. Both Bartram and Laura were out in the garden waving. They must have somehow known he was coming. The eagle's gentle turn deposited the pair right at the entrance to the lodge.
"Welcome, my son," said Bartram, "to a day of relaxation and relief. You need it. However, I have one short word for you before you start your renewal time."
The boy paid absolute attention as Bartram continued.
"Pride and loud arrogance are exactly the wrong attitude and expression. Understand that, I say, boy."
Bartram pierced the boy with a stern look. Sensing the boy knew his mistake, Bartram eased his expression and said,
"Now, let's go in."
The boy looked around as he was ushered into the lodge. It was the same friendly atmosphere, almost Christmas-like in its cheeriness. Bartram said to the boy,
"We have instructions for a very important part of your adventure. You are going to meet Hugh and the Worm, and both of them have a plan for your life."
"Who?" asked the boy.
"Just relax for now, boy. I'll tell you more about it later," said Bartram. "But sit down, eat. You must be hungry."
Indeed, the boy was hungry. Once again, the best food he had ever eaten was laid before him: barbecue, salads, potatoes, and good drinks. The air was nice and warm, and the boy enjoyed eating his dinner and watching the small people in their peaceful conversation. After he had filled himself, he became drowsy. He excused himself from the table, and Bartram ushered him to his usual easy chair near the fireplace. The little man seated himself, looked at the boy, and asked,
"Who do you want me to tell you about first? Hugh, the reason for all worlds, or,"
he grimaced as he said,
"the Worm?"
The boy, not really knowing what to ask about, decided to ask about Hugh. Bartram said,
"Hugh will give you power, a plan for success, and permission to use it. The Worm will try to convince you that your old behavior is your only choice.